No matter what success you want in life, be it money, be it success, academic achievement, whatever, depends on you doing things consistently and doing things with discipline. And so in this video, I'm going to answer a question that I got in my school community, which is, how do you bring order and discipline in life? And I'm going to give my 2 cents on it. So if you don't know me, my name is Sankalp. I recently completed my PhD in psychology slash neuroscience in the University of Oxford. And on this channel, I share tips on personal growth, neuroscience, psychology, and my mission is to increase happiness, reduce suffering in the world. So how do you bring order and discipline? I think the first thing we need to really answer and question is the premise of the question, which is, do we really need order and discipline? Oftentimes the vibe, the energy of that word is a bit like, ooh, I need to do things despite feeling like I want to do something else. So there is a part of you that needs to do something else, and the sense of bringing order and discipline is like going against these parts of you and then bringing them, grinding them in alignment. And you can already see there's like so much effort that seems to go into that, right? Like there's parts of you that don't want to do things, and then you want to bring them like, and be disciplined. Like that's the energy of it. So I am a big fan of consistency. I am a big fan of discipline, but I think that should happen with all your parts being in alignment and being like, let's go, let's get this done. Not in the sense of like, oh, I'm not quite interested in it, but just because I know I should be disciplined, that I should do it. So I have a bit of a contrarian take on discipline, compared to most traditional self-help advice, where it goes like, you know what, just do it and just grind and all of that. And I've always found that if you fight against your mind, it's always a battle you lose. There's no fight against my mind that I've ever won, at least not in the long run. So, maybe in the short run I might be able to override it, but in the long run, it's actually better to take all your parts with you. So there's this one thing that I teach quite often, and it's a framework on which many therapies are based, which is this idea that you are a collection of parts. So one of my favorite styles of therapy is internal family systems therapy, which suggests that we are a collection of parts, and these parts could be like different ages, or at least different ages. And oftentimes these parts also have contradictory intentions. So I want to stay fit, I want to stay healthy, but I also like that donut, which I treated myself to yesterday. And so, how do you bring these parts in alignment is the question. So, first big point about discipline is to stop uh, this idea that there are parts of you that are against you, and that you need to therefore go against these parts and just like force them in. And what we want to create, and what has worked successfully for me, and I work like 11 hours every day minimum at work, and then there are other side projects and whatnot, but most of it is not like forced or anything. And the reason for that is all my parts are on board. Sure, there might be a little temptation to distract here and there and watch Instagram and whatnot, but for the most part, what keeps me disciplined, what keeps me moving, is being on a purpose, having a sense of mission. Like in the beginning, I said, my mission is to increase happiness and reduce suffering. I take that very seriously. And I don't think it's a trivial problem at all. Like I've been at it ever since I was 19 when I framed it this way, which is when I decided to go into neuroscience, psychology, because the mind, emotions are all we have. Lens, it's our lens through which we see the world. And you might there's a video where I said why I studied psychology, and I go into deep depth into it. So for me, if discipline is the core problem, then to me that might suggest that there is a lack of sense of a mission, a purpose, or clarity on what you're doing and where you're going. And if you're truly driven by that goal, then I personally think that it's discipline and even consistency and order, they sort of take care of themselves, because that's your best expression in the world, and that's why you live, right? Having said that, there are a few strategic things that might be useful. um, One of them, perhaps the most important, is your sleep and nutrition, and just generally taking care of your physical health. What happens often is the reason why we get distracted is because oftentimes we are not well sort of fed in the sense of like, I don't have a good nutrition profile, and so therefore our gut craves things, and this could be literally craves foods that are unhealthy. But there's also evidence to suggest that the craving can be like represented sort of more generally in the brain. So the way you crave social interaction might be similar to the way you crave food. So I've personally found, again, this personal thing, it's not necessarily neuroscience here, but I've just personally found the more unhealthy stuff I eat, the more I am uh, prone to not having that consistency, that discipline. And the more I exercise, the more healthy I eat, the better sleep I have, the more sort of my body is ready to support that consistency and discipline. And then the one final tip I'll give is the environment in which you do the work. Like personally, I love going to work because the environment is great. It's great in terms of like, the chair is exactly the height I want, the monitor is exactly the one I want, my laptop is fast, all of that is environment. But also the people around, those are environment. I love talking to my colleagues and I love what I study. So it's just something that it's like, what will I do at home? Like just sit and like lay in my bed or something, versus like cracking the mysteries of the human brain. I'd rather do that. And so you see how discipline might not be like too big of a variable in there. um okay, I promise this will be final, and that is like increasing the perception of how much work it takes to get your outcomes. So I want to study the brain scientifically and study personal growth and be the best version of myself, be it in public speaking, be it in my friendships and relationships. And for all of that, um I have found that what I thought it took to be confident, to run businesses, to run great scientific studies, my estimate of that was so low, and it took like not 2x 3x but 5x 10x more to get something done on that quality. So to build confidence, I had to like go out and do it like clockwork, talk to hundreds and thousands of strangers, which is complete mind-blowing stuff for someone who has social anxiety, right? Whereas most people would like, if they say, okay, I want to go and sort of meet people, then they would like meet like two people in a party, right? So that's like the, like we want to shift our reference point from what work is needed to a lot. And so when you aim for the moon, you sometimes, well, when you aim for the stars, you sometimes reach the moon. And that's the idea, that you will, if you have a higher sense of what amount of work it takes, then you might just naturally do more, which might solve the problem of consistency and volume, really. So hopefully some of these tips were useful. These are tips I use at least, and they seem to work for me. So hopefully that might be useful for you. If you want to ask questions to me like that, then you are welcome to be a part of my school community, which is a free online community. There are people who are into personal growth, all into it. We are all sharing our wins, we are celebrating, and we are all growing together. If that sounds like someone who is you, you are very welcome to join the community. Link should be down below.